know, one of the downsides to completely empty property is there's nowhere to use the bathroom. So we thought it was time to finally build an outhouse. We've got some friends coming for Memorial Day, and I thought it would be nice to give them a slightly more comfortable place to use the bathroom. I designed this originally in SketchUp, and I didn't film me making the most of that frame. It's just a wood box, but today's goal is to get the roof done, attached. I've got some quasi semi-clear plastic roofing that's going to go on that, and hopefully get some of that siding on. All right, let's get going. Okay, first project, I need to tie these rafters together. Somebody should really invent something that makes it easy to get up to high places. But whatever. I've already got one in. So what I'm going to do is attach two rafters together and stagger the boards. That way I can actually reach where the screws go. And then I'll just fill in the alternate space with a board and just screw it. That way I get a flush surface on both sides of this. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 2, 12 or so pieces to cut. Alright, I've got all the roof rafters tied together. It might be hard to tell, but they kind of alternate back and forth. So one's on the edge and one is one board back on the edge, one board back. That actually gives you a spot to screw all these things together. So I'm going to go back in and cut another piece on both sides, fill these in so there's a nice flat surface. But before we do that, I'm going to tie the roof into the actual structure now by putting a board attaching all these together. I'll do it on both sides. So then that'll attach the roof to the walls. Yep, just like that. I made it a little bit shorter for the slanted roof. That way this side of the top doesn't stick up higher than the roof. That's definitely going to work well to tie the roof into the rest of the frame. Alright, I've attached a couple already, just kind of filling in the other side of these supports. I got a few more to go. I'm screwing everything from the outside because I'm going to cover this with cedar siding. Make the inside a little cleaner. But I got that one now. Remember to always wear sunscreen. Alright, these back ones are a little harder. Up there, I just put them in, they don't stick above the roof. Down here, they stick up above the roof. That's because this is notched out down here. So what I'll probably do is just rip them down to that height. You don't have to worry. Don't have to get too fancy with this angle. Alright, turns out I had to cut it down to 3 inches for the back one, and then the front one will be a little less, but I went ahead and cut 2 of these, one for this side and one for the other side. But looks great. I've only got part of one here. I put that in before, but now I'm gonna take that off and then put a longer one that ties into the roof. Do that on that side and that side, and then the roof framing is done. And we can try to figure out how to put the actual roofing on next. Well, here's a frame for the outhouse. It might be overbuilt a little bit. That's okay. It'll stay here forever. It's all just made out of regular untreated 2x4s, except for the very bottom. It sits on treated 4x4s. That way it won't rot out from the bottom right away. There's also no 4x4 at the back. I wanted to be able to lift this and move it with my forks on the skid steer. So I only added the 4x4s on 3 of the sides. That way all I gotta do is pop off a piece of siding down there, and I can just slide the forks under, pick the whole thing up and move it if I have to. Next step is to put the plastic roof on, then we can start adding some siding. Alright, trying to figure out this roof. I've got 4 pieces of this stuff. So I'm gonna have to split it in half for the ends, and then 2, 3, and 4, and the other half on the very end. So just trying to figure out the best place to do this. I'm gonna have to cut it right through here, which leaves just kind of half of a ridge over this one. So then the other piece coming in will just overlap like that, and I think that'll be just fine. Alright, I gotta rip this all the way down the whole length. So I just used a circular saw to cut this. It did a pretty good job. It is super loud. Also definitely have some ear protection when you go to cut this plastic roofing. I went and grabbed my ear muffs. But yeah, they did a really good job with a nice clean cut. Well, I'm really happy with this overlap. So that worked out really well. Just a little bit and it's hidden by the board. I don't think any water is going to be able to get through there. So now we got to figure out the other side. So the center piece will have to be just a full width panel. So it's going to go there to there, no matter what. So now we got to figure out, where do I want to cut it? I don't want too much overlap because I don't want to see this extra dark strip. So I think I'm just going to have to cut it right here. I'll just have just a half overlap. Won't be completely behind the board, but that's okay. When you're actually using the outhouse, sitting here, you won't be able to see that. So that'll work for me. We'll cut this board, or this, rip this roof piece right through here. There's all the roof panels. Overlaps look good. Alright, last thing to do is square it up and screw it all down. I will confess I don't have a ladder, so that'll be a thing. I'll figure something out. Just ripped the first piece of siding to cap the roof rafters at the end. Look at how pink that sawdust is. Some really pretty wood. I'm going to start the bottom of every side with this composite decking and then cedar above it just to help keep that from rotting out. Then I'm going to notch each of these so there's a little bit of overlap as we go up. miter saw set up, and you can kind of see what I'm going for with the siding. Piece underneath goes like that. And when the next piece comes, this is in like that. That way any water and stuff just kind of runs right off. There's no straight gap through it for bugs or whatever. It's going to work pretty well. Well, we've got the backside done. It turned out really nice. You can see all of the overlaps here. So when water comes, it's just go right down the side. Nothing's gonna get in. Also helps keep bugs out. Make it a little harder for them to get up and in. Well, now I just gotta do the side next. My router just died. But, got to go shopping. Compact router and some better bits. So I'll have to do it a little differently. I couldn't find a table anywhere nearby. It's another downside to living in the middle of nowhere. But I think this will work. Just have to do it a little differently. Let's get this unpacked and try it out. So my original notch was just kind of random. I just set it up on the table, and as long as it was consistent, it wouldn't matter. So about this, which is 3/8 this way, 1/2 that way. It's close. Fortunately, it died right at the end of one of the walls, so I only really have one board cut with the old notch. So this will just be the new size. That's nice. Well, let's test this out on a little piece of scrap. That is so much nicer than my other router. So smooth. I think I just had a cheap bit last time. Never skimp on the bits. Well, there's one problem. I think what I'm going to have to do is raise this so it doesn't cut so much. The 3/8 this way is fine, but taking a whole ½ inch this way is a problem. Because then they don't line up. There's a gap. So I'll adjust that and we'll take a little less here so these are even. Alright, I just eyeballed it so that it looked like it was about half the board thickness. We'll give it another test. Alright, that's a lot better. Now they fit together. And actually they leave it a little higher here. Right there, and I think I like that. So what that'll do is when rain comes down, a little overhang there, make it more difficult to get in the crack, and also when I screw the top one, since there's a little gap back here, it's going to apply a lot of pressure to the bottom one and help hold all this on the wall. So I think I'll go with this thickness. We're good to go. This is amazingly smooth router. It's like 150 bucks. Good deal. It's now 6 months later. We did the main build in May, so we had a bunch of friends come out, and it worked really well. Let's see, the only thing we really had to change since then were the latch alignment. We got a little off as the door dried. It warped a little bit, so just had to move that a tiny little bit. We also noticed a little bit of just surface mold on this wood. I don't think the ventilation in here is that great. So we did a coat of just some oil-based sealer on that. Hopefully that gets that taken care of. What I wanted to do today was basically finish this up. There's a lot of spaces, especially up here, underneath these ridges. It just goes straight outside, so I'm going to put some foam all along the edge here, front and back. Just try to keep the bugs out. Wasn't too bad. I mean, there was the scariest spider in the world. Came down from here, this big old wolf spider. So hopefully that helps keep those guys out. And on the outside, I want to put some trim, just to kind of cover up this stuff here. So just a couple inch pieces on either side. I think that'll give a really nice finished look. Yeah, this has worked out really well. We've had, oh man, almost 50 people come camp here. Still no real smell in here. I think the cedar's working overtime. So I've been really happy with it. Got the trim on the front face, but I can't put the trim on the back yet until I get this piece done. So, let's go ahead and cut that. Well, if you've ever wondered what trim is for, it's this. Got a gap here because the siding on the outside was a little bit thicker than the inside. And that left a gap here. But that's what trim's for. You just cover it up and nobody knows. Trim is all done. I'm really happy with how that looks. It really cleans up the edges. Okay, last piece of wood I gotta work on is, you see this cap along the front? I need to do that same thing on the back along here. That just protects the ends from the weather. These aren't treated, and also we'll straighten up the roof line a little bit. And then I think that's the last piece of wood I'm going to put on this thing for quite a while. last step is to try to seal this thing up. There's gaps. All the ridges underneath the roofing just go straight outside, so we get nice guests like that dude. I don't think we'll keep all the bugs out of here, but you know, we get most of them. Well, I held the camera up but realized I wasn't recording for any of this. But there's a few spots left. I was just getting this side. So just right up in here is the last few spots we got to do. Well, I think that's pretty much sealed up. I'll go back through with a knife and clean all this up once it's all 100% set. I think that has it. Oh, look at this. I just noticed a gap going right outside right here. Maybe they're going to fill this nicely, or it's going to make a mess. I'm going to guess mess. Well, definitely sealed it. Once that dries, I'll just be able to scrape that off and then sand it, and it'll look really nice. Same with all this. I'll just be able to cut that off and look a lot nicer. Bugs will definitely still find their way in, but it'll be a lot harder now. They won't have just obvious big gaps. They'll come in here and make nests and things.